Tadej Pogacar narrowly avoids disaster just holding it up, but saved by the 3 kilometer rule in stage 2 of the Tour de France. A nervous stage. Eve didn't get his torso sorted. He needs to see a dressmaker or a tailor. I think, he lost the yellow jersey today. Spoiler, Ross killed it to Nyborg. It's the build stage of crosswinds, the 18-kilometer long Great Belt Bridge across, and supposed to be crosswinds, and there was a headwind all day. That didn't mean there wouldn't be nervousness. They changed direction a lot. There was 3 Category 4 climbs, so that meant the KOM jersey, the polka dot jersey, was on offer for the first time. But yeah, this was unfortunately supposed to be a really explosive stage, but it all depended on the wind. And when we saw the weather forecast, it was light wind, southwest direction, and so it wasn't really favorable. So Luke Rowe, probably a sad day for him. He's probably been thinking of this for a year or since the route was revealed. Pogacar probably happy because his team of rouleurs, or lack thereof, isn't very strong. Wout opting for the full green skin suit, not sure about that. And Monsieur Prudhomme actually waited a fair while after neutral to get the race proper underway, the first Rouge stage, before Court went in the break. Magnus Court with 2 of B&B, Barth and Roland, as well as Bistrom. None of the other French teams tried to get in the break. I was surprised. It got blocked up pretty quickly. There was no fight for the break at all, despite the first polka dots being available. So it was Honoré taking the place, the Danish versatile rider, instead of Tim de Klerk, who couldn't start the Tour de France because of COVID. Alpecin didn't put a rider up to pace all day. They've got like 6 rouleurs, didn't put a rider up to pace. Luke Rowe saying to Wout, you know what, Wout, if we had Ian Stannard, you would have no chance today. Anyway, KOM was the biggest excitement for the first 150 Ks, and Roland and B&B were playing with Magnus Court a little bit. Way before the first KOM sprint, Bart then going, he didn't get a lead out despite being the punchier guy, like miles out from the KOM, and so the 2 B&B guys got dropped. Court won the first sprint, and B&B would live to regret this. There was a point of humiliation for them on this stage as Bistrom and Court decided, you know what, screw these guys. And they just continued pacing and dropped them on the first KOM Cat 4 climb, and they were chasing in no man's land. So not great for those 2 guys. It'd be a little bit, I guess, tense in the bus afterwards. Court took the second KOM sprint, which meant that Bistrom didn't even contest the third one, so his plan succeeded. He goes into the polka dot jersey, and I think Bistrom would take the combativity, but we saw Rowe going to the front. He means business, nervousness, getting into position before the first intermediate sprint. Wout van Aert there with Laporte piloting him. They didn't really use any of the other riders, Jumbo-Visma, and Laporte did a magnificent job for him, and you see, actually, Merku's on the right side of Sagan. Sagan's on Ewan's wheel. No Pedersen, no Philipsen contesting the intermediate. Kind of surprised, actually. Green jersey made even easier for Wout. And it's Merku who actually, he wanted Jakobsen to go onto Sagan's wheel and sort of let the wheel go and stuffed Jakobsen's intermediate. So Wout came second. Ewan did contest it, came first. Sagan third. He's in the hunt for this green jersey, whilst the GC teams assembled to the front once again. There were some crashes, some nervousness. Uran involved in a crash and a mechanical today, both before and on this bridge. It was strung out, but no huge time gaps, no splits possible. It was mainly just nervousness, and it wasn't as bad as Brittany last year. Uran was the main unlucky rider of the day, but even he wouldn't really lose time. He'd make it back. And it was like one of the movies where a ticking time bomb, you're waiting for it to explode, and it never does. They get onto the bridge. Vlasov moves to the front. He's like, I think it's Vlasov. Where's my teammates? Everyone's looking around. Danny Martinez is like, is this it? It's just straight headwind. There's no crosswind, and you see they're not fanned out at all. So Uran was able to come back. There was a crash though. EF have been crashing a lot last 2 days. I think Ruben Guerrero, who'd had a bit of a scuffle with Stefan Kung earlier, and I understand Kung got fined for that. He just rides into the back wheel of the Total Energy rider, and that brings down Lampard. So Lampard was in wrong place, wrong time. Guerrero's looking over like, holy, that is scary. I'm glad I didn't fall off that. Lampard puts the chain back on, and fortunately for him, it wasn't crosswind. There was Soler on the front. Oliveira, I think, he's maybe having a few words to commissaires who were saying, get out from behind your car. Gets into the convoy, and then he was safe. He was back up the front with 16 Ks to go, and Cruz is whistling. Cruz is like, this is a piece of pie. Geraint's like, can you stop that? Stop it. This is a serious race, mate. You're whistling on the bridge. There's supposed to be a lot of action here today, but there wasn't. You see, Pino's doing 35 k's an hour. It was more reminiscent of that UAE stage where Philipsen ran next to his bike, and only in the last 5 k's did it really heat up with the leadouts. And you see, Jumbo Visma here, they got a dual problem. Like Van Hooydonk flicks Laporte, but Laporte's the last man for Wout. But they're trying to keep Jonas and Roglic in good position. So Laporte did just an unbelievable job of both those things today. Nathan Van Hooydonk, I think he just extended crazy rider too. And Alpecin, they get on a 3K banner. Alpecin try to move to the front. Quick step. I don't know who Asgren was shouting at, but here it is. Here you see Pogacar sliding up the inside. This is under 3Ks to go, and he nearly crashes. He's in front of the Seneschal crash. He was trying to move underneath the bike exchange, and he gets squeezed by them as the peloton moves left. It's kind of similar to Roglic's crash last year, except this is under 3Ks to go, and he does an unbelievable job, unlike Roglic, of keeping it up. But the sprint trains continue unabated. They will be put on the same time. Anyone that was caught up with the crash there, Ganna and Martinez as well, went down. And it's Catania fourth last man. You see that actually Merkur and Jakobsen are detached from him. Lampard going at 800 meters to go. Laporte's on his wheel with, I think, Sturven just in front of Pedersen. Laporte and Sturven trying to go late as possible. Pedersen does like to go early. Van Poppel pretty much doing it himself. And Sagan, Ewan, Jakobsen all fighting or start to fight for Wout's wheel. You see Wout on the right-hand side on Laporte's wheel, but Laporte's a little bit boxed by Sturven, and it's a headwind sprint. You don't want to go early. Jasper Philipsen's trying to move up the inside of Sagan here, but there's no space. Sagan detaches him from, I think, Krieger, his last man, and then Krieger's going to get Wout's wheel, try and move off to the left because he doesn't know that Philipsen's not on his wheel, so good lead out, I guess, from Krieger. But Jakobsen hesitates. He goes, you see here, and then he's like, oh, actually, I don't want to follow Krieger. And he's left Wout's wheel now. And Sagan sees this, and like the savvy vet he is, tries to slide onto Wout's wheel and does in fact slide onto Wout's wheel because Jakobsen yielded the wheel going over to Krieger. But now Jakobsen wants the wheel back. And so a fight begins between Jakobsen and Sagan for Wout van Aert's wheel. Pedersen launches here way too early. It's not 260, but it is still too early to go. And Laporte was about to do his lead out, and Wout gets the perfect lead out from Pedersen. He even goes early. Sagan gets mixed up, but Jakobsen detaches himself, and once he gets clear air, even having to go the long way around, 1, 2, 3, bang, like Jakobsen just too fast. And Groenewegen nowhere, Ewan nowhere. They weren't able to really contest the sprint. Jakobsen wins 2 in a row for Quick Step. He boxed in Sagan, reclaimed Wout's wheel, and got the job done for them. Pogacar with the double flat, and I think he dragged his knuckles against the barrier, but lives to fight another day. But Jakobsen wins the stage ahead of Wout van Aert, who goes into the yellow jersey. You'll see him in a second. Pedersen third, Van Poppel fourth, Philipsen fifth, Sagan, then Lecroc, Groenewegen, Mozzato, Hofstede, Ewan, outside of the top 10. But because of the 6 bonus seconds, Van Aert goes into the yellow jersey lead 1 second ahead of Lampard. So the crash didn't cost Lampard's GC lead, but Wout was just too good in the sprint today. And so now he is the real leader of both the green jersey competition and the yellow jersey. Hope you enjoyed the video. Another sprint stage probably tomorrow. I'll see you with the recap before the rest day on Monday. Subscribe down below if you haven't already. I'll see you then. Ciao.